Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this video. I'm currently sitting in my daughter's old bedroom, which has become my work office. Um, yeah, I want to talk about owner-operator pay and the spot market in the end of 2022 and what I did this week. And I get asked a lot, like, is it worth being an owner-operator? Is it worth leaving my company job to be an owner-operator? Now, I'm going to preface this video by saying this. It's not like if you're leaving a company job just because of money, you're probably leaving for the wrong reasons. I wanted to become an owner operator. I'm finishing my second year of being an owner operator because I just wanted I wanted more freedom. I wanted to try and build something from the ground up, like, not owning a truck to owning a truck to owning a trade. I wanted to grow and see what I could do as an individual. So that's why I became an owner operator. Has it been easy? Nope. Is it something I love? Absolutely. Now I'll get into the numbers of what I did this week. This week is going to consist of 6 days, Sunday through Friday. And I did something very different than I'm used to doing. I basically ran regional for the week because I needed to be home for the holidays. And that's something I typically don't do. I don't stay in the Midwest region very often. I usually leave the Midwest and head out east, but this time I did something different. Like I said, I stayed in the Midwest, I ran more regional loads, and I booked every load off the spot market. So let's talk about what I saw running regional as an owner operator playing the spot market. I'd say it was a pretty profitable week for doing something I'm not used to doing. When I look at all my numbers here, I'm pretty satisfied with how this week turned out. Like I said, this was a 6-day week. I ended up driving 2,075 miles just in the tri-state area, to be honest with you. And I did 5 loads. I did a load from Minnesota to Illinois, a load from Illinois to Iowa, and then I did a load from Nebraska back to Minnesota. Then I did a load from Minnesota to Wisconsin, a load from Wisconsin back to Minnesota. Now, this was all temperature controlled freight. It was all start and stop. 3 out of the 5 loads were freeze protect loads. So my reefer never even turned on. With thermal mass in the trailer, I would just flip the reefer on and see what the box temperature was and made a decision. Do I run my reefer or do I leave it off? I will say this. I always turn the reefer on and match the box temperature. That way, if something changes dramatically when I'm in transit, I don't need to stop the truck and turn the reefer on. So yeah, let's talk about what I grossed. In 6 days, I grossed $6,025 on, that's to the truck. That is gross revenue to the truck of $6,025. Now, I work for a 90-10 split carrier, so I keep 90% of whatever the truck generates. So my portion of that $6,025 is $5,422.50. That is a rate per mile on all miles of $2.61. Jump right into the expenses that I had this week. This isn't going to include all my variable expenses and my fixed costs for the week. Usually our most expensive cost, unless we have a major breakdown, is fuel. So let's talk about that first. Let's talk about truck diesel. I ended up filling my truck up 4 times because I didn't want to run my tanks below half a gallon. So I ended up pumping. Oh, by the way, too, I'll put this out here. These numbers are what I actually paid for the fuel. This includes my discount. So I ended up pumping 370.32 gallons of fuel for a total cost of $1,191.94 in truck fuel. That is a cost per mile of 57 cents. Now I run a reefer, so I need to buy reefer fuel as well. I ended up purchasing 39 gallons of reefer fuel for a grand total of $128.34. That is a cost per mile of 6 cents. I'll say this. I didn't burn through a lot of reefer fuel. The reason I needed 39 gallons was when I left out, I just topped my reefer off. And then a lot of my loads were start and stop or freeze protect. I only had one load that had to be ran on continuous, and it wasn't for a very long time. I think it was a total of like 8 hours that I was under that load. So yeah, my cost per mile in reefer fuel was 6 cents. I also run a truck that has an after treatment system. So I needed to purchase DEF fluid. And I purchased that in Poynette, Wisconsin, at the BP. I paid $2.99 per gallon for DEF fluid. I highly suggest if you need DEF and you run through Wisconsin, stop there to get your fluid, DEF fluid, because it's a lot cheaper than the Love's right across the street or any other truck stop. Like I said, it's $2.99 per gallon. I pumped 12 gallons for a grand total of $100.92. That is a cost per mile of 4 cents. If you add up the truck fuel, the reefer fuel, and the DEF fluid, you get a cost per mile in all the fuel that I needed of 67 cents. And like I said, once again, this is what I paid for the fuel, not the pump price. This includes my discounted price. The first fixed cost I have is my insurance. Now, this is my bobtail insurance. It's physical damage. It's replacement value of my truck and trailer. So yeah, that number is this is broke down weekly. Okay. My insurance on the truck and trailer is $225.30 per week. Now, my health insurance. My business pays its employees' health insurance. That costs me $146.61 per week. My cell phone is a business phone. I use it for business activities. My phone costs my business $20.76 per week. And then here's something I like it, but I wish I didn't have a payment on a trailer. I do have a trailer payment. My trailer payment is $253.84. So if you add up my insurance of $225.30, my health insurance of $146.61, my cell phone, $20.76, and my trailer payment of $253.84, you get a grand total of $646.51 in fixed costs for this week. Now, if I take that number and divide it by the 2,075 miles I drove, my fixed costs were 31 cents per mile. Okay, once again, I run a very low cost operation in the trucking industry, and I've worked very, very hard at it. So if you take my fuel costs, that includes truck fuel, reefer fuel, and DEF, remember my total was 67 cents per mile. Now, if you break down my fixed costs were 31 cents per mile. So if you add those two together, you get a cost per mile in variable costs and fixed costs of 98 cents per mile. If you remember in the beginning in the video, I ended up grossing $2.61 per mile on 2,075 miles. So if you take my rate per mile of $2.61, subtract it from my cost per mile, which was 98 cents, you get a total of $1.63 in profit per mile. Now you might say, hey, you're not sharing your pay, and I'm not. My pay is honestly my business. That what we choose to pay ourselves is on a wide spectrum. We all pay ourselves differently. I believe if you've seen my videos before, you know I live a pretty cheap life. I don't need a lot of money at home. I would rather have my money go back into my business. So once again, that means after my cost per mile of 98 cents, subtract it from what I received on all miles of $2.61, that leaves me a profit per mile of $1.63 per mile. We're almost done with numbers. I get it. People don't like numbers, but hey man, I happen to like numbers because I'm a business owner and I need to understand numbers. So if you add up my fixed costs of $664.51. And then you add up all the costs I had in fuel, you get a grand total of $2,067.71 in expenses that I had to pay out this week when I was out running for these 6 days. So if you remember, my gross was $5,422.50. If you subtract my costs of $2,067.71, that leaves me with a grand total of $3,354.79 to my business after all costs. Now, here's something I like to do. I like to know my profit margins. So if you take what my business profited after all of its expenses of $3,354.79, divide that by the gross revenue of, or the gross revenue to me of $5,422.51, and then multiply that by 100, I had a profit margin of 61% this week. I believe my business can continue to grow, can continue to expand when I am seeing numbers like this. Now you might argue, hey, you didn't share your pay, and no, I didn't. And I'll say this: there is a wide spectrum on how we all pay ourselves as owner operators, and that solely is like our business. You have to decide what you're worth to paying yourself. If you've watched my videos, you know I have low costs at home. I have low costs as a business owner. I would rather put more money in my business to continue to grow it and continue to buy new equipment than put the money in my pocket. And like I said, when I'm seeing 61% profit margins after all my costs, I know I can continue to grow my business. Now, I'll also say this: running the Midwest this week, I didn't pay any tolls. I didn't have to scale any loads. A lot of the loads were light. I saved money running in the Midwest. And I'll also say this: the spot market wasn't bad. Like I said, after my 90%, what I receive as a contractor, I was grossing $2.61 per mile. I think that's pretty good, to be honest with you. And when my operating costs were only 98 cents per mile, I definitely can continue to be profitable as a business owner and expand my business at these numbers, because there's numbers I can work on. There's things I can even cut my costs down even more. So yeah, I hope you found this video informational. I hope it helps you in, maybe changing things up in your business, or if you're thinking about becoming an owner operator, how much does it cost to operate for a week? Well, I just shared, for me to operate this week, these are all costs minus my pay, was $2,067.71. So yeah, I hope everybody has a great holiday season. Until next time, you know what it is. Keep on trucking.